That picture on the screen is a picture of me. When people ask for a photograph for publication and they don't specify the date, I like to send the most flattering picture of myself that I can find. Thank you for your appreciating the introduction. I'll have to explain a little bit about myself. I'm a professional photographer with a significant hobby, which is photography. The pictures that I'm going to show you this evening are, for the most part, pictures that I've taken as a hobbyist. Not an assignment, but just because I like to take pictures. They date from quite a while ago. This is one of my first pictures. It was taken in 1946. I've sort of lost track of the dog since. I will go through some of these quickly. These are pictures of dogs. Dogs are a wonderful subject. I find them to be very sympathetic creatures. They're all over the world. They're sympathetic. They're likable. They don't ask for prints. They're just. This is a surfing dog in Japan. This is a French dog in Paris. This is a fancy dog in New York with a Balenciaga rose. It's an Irish dog. This dog jumped whenever I barked. It's a trick that I've used on a number of animals. Sometimes they jump, sometimes they don't. One of them peed on my leg. We're in Kyoto in Japan here. I was just across the street from this scene, and I barked, and the lady turned around and kicked the dog. Conversation at a coffee shop. And this is a recent picture taken around this corner from where I live in New York. This is a southern dog. Here we're at Crofts, the sort of most important dog show in the world. Takes place in England every year. They judge 25,000 dogs in a few days, in 4 days. It's an English dog. Three-legged dog. Central Park. This is a working dog. Japanese dog, although you can't really tell. This is my own dog, digging a hole in East Hampton. This is an affinity group. This is one of my more popular photographs in Central Park. Well, that's enough of dogs. I find dogs make wonderful subjects. They're very cooperative. This man is engaged in a uniquely British sport called paddling. It consists of going into the ocean in your Sunday best and looking towards France. More of the British at play. This is near my house in Long Island. Here we are in Rio de Janeiro. This is Pablo Casals and his wife, the great cellist in Puerto Rico. Punta del Este. As you can see, I take pictures in various parts of the world, generally on the back of assignments, of commercial assignments. Rio de Janeiro. This is in Sylt in northern Germany. This picture is a cover photograph of my book about Rome. It's Diana balancing the moon on her head, taken in Berlin. All of these are sort of random pictures taken just as you walk around with a camera, which is what most of my colleagues in Magnum do. This is a hotel room in Miami Beach. Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. New Orleans. Here we are in New York City. In Firenze, in Italy. This is the cover of my book, a large book, sort of a collection of these pictures. Many of them are in this projection. A hotel room in Texas. An architectural detail. This was an advertising photograph for a music festival in Puerto Rico. It was supposed to be a picture of Pablo Casals, but he was sick. So we just used his cello. A well-known movie actress. Magnum photographers, of which I am one, worked on a number of films when films were hiring people to do publicity photographs. This picture was taken on the set of The Misfits, and it was the last movie that Marilyn Monroe made, and that many of the people in this picture participated in. Nikita Khrushchev, with a Sputnik in his left arm. A confrontation in Moscow between Vice President Nixon and Nikita Khrushchev. Fidel Castro. Che Guevara in a good mood. Marilyn Monroe. Grace Kelly at her engagement party. Jackie Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy at the burial of President Kennedy. in Virginia. A morning constitutional with President Truman. The Soviet government with Charles de Gaulle. There's an anecdote to this picture. It was taken in the French embassy in Moscow in the late hours after everyone had gone home, all the party people and all the journalists, and including myself. I went back to my hotel. And then I had a hunch that maybe I should go back. And so I did. I went back. The embassy was not guarded. I just walked in, opened a few doors, opened this door to this room. The people were there talking. I sat down with them. Nobody noticed. I took some pictures. I got the hell out and shipped them over to Match, the French magazine, Match. It became a cover picture. I guess security was a little bit lax in those days. The evangelist Billy Graham. This is Andy Warhol with my daughter, one of my daughters. It was supposed to be, forgot her name. It was supposed to be somebody else who didn't show up to be posing with him. Grace Jones, yes. Grace Jones was supposed to show up, and so she was very late, so I used my daughter instead. Merlina. By virtue of my friendship with the press secretary to the President Kennedy, I was accredited to the White House. And this is a picture I took when President Kennedy was first introduced to his room in the White House, having just been elected president. Jack Kerouac, before he became a hippie. Eric Ambler, the mystery writer in London. Pacelli, Pius XII. Number 6, forgot what goes before it. This was the first trip that any pope took outside of Italy since the Middle Ages. I happened to be on the same plane, along with a few other journalists. Paris. I forgot where that was. This picture was an illustration for something, I forgot what, but it's turned out to be a very popular photograph that is that has a second and third and fourth life, like many pictures that are taken by my colleagues in Magnum. We retain copyright of our photographs, and by virtue of owning them, can sell them again and again to various clients. A museum in Venice where you can't see the pictures. This is Versailles. The Metropolitan Museum in New York City. It reminds me a little bit of contemporary art. I gave a print of this to my eye doctor, but he did not put it up in his office. This is a picture of Robert Frank, my friend at the time, and his first child. Hungary. Mexico. And this is my first daughter, the baby that is. And my first wife. This is in Barcelona. Most of the pictures that have been projected are essentially amateur pictures taken on my, simply because I carry a camera most of the time, or used to at least. Those are two of my daughters. One is inside the mother and the other one is listening to the heartbeat. From a fashion shoot. This picture was not used, of course, but commercial assignments are very often good sources for good opportunities to take pictures that have nothing to do with the assignment. And I think that my colleagues and myself welcome such assignments. Goya. These are my kids. These These are not my kids. Italian children soon after the war, World War. This picture is of my wife and first child. It was part of the Family of Man exhibition of Edward Steichen, which was one of the major exhibition of photography up to that time. It dates back to 1953.